ChatGPT Ads just got released to the public as of mid-May 2026. And in this video, I'm going to walk through how you can set up your conversion tracking on your ChatGPT Ads to differentiate website visits versus actual conversions on your website. I'm also going to walk through my targeting recommendations, my bidding recommendations, and finally wrap up with what I think your ads should actually look like on ChatGPT. So without further ado, let's dive right in. All right, so as you can see, we're inside of the OpenAI Ads Manager. We're looking inside of the Conversions tab, and you can see you have data source, you have conversions events, and then you have an event stream. Now, there's a couple of things you need to be aware of. Number one, whenever you set up a data source, that is what gives you actual source code. You can also set up conversion events, which are tied to your data source that you just set up. Now, these conversion events do not have any Boolean logic or page URL dynamics that you can leverage. So you may be wondering, how can I actually set up my ads to showcase conversions and the right kinds of conversions? And that's where this comes in. So let me showcase what this would look like from start to finish. So number one, we're gonna go into data source, right? Create data source. We're gonna say, I'm gonna say T&V website visit. Right? So this is going to be just web. You can only do web right now. And this is going to encompass all website visits. We're going to take this code, and this is going to go inside of our Google Tag Manager. So let's get into Google Tag Manager. Okay, so once we copy this code, we can go into Google Tag Manager, and we're going to just simply go into our tags, and we are going to create a new tag. We're going to label this ChatGPT Ads website visit, because that's what we set up as a website visit, right? And so we're going to do custom HTML because they don't have a connector. Throw it in here. The trigger is going to be initialization all pages, okay? And we're going to hit save. Now, we could go and, publish our container and say we're good to go, but this actually would put you in a tricky scenario, because if you go to any page, if ChatGPT leads to any page on your website, then that is going to fire. And that is not actually what we want. It's not a conversion tract, right? So if we go back into ChatGPT Ads here and we were to create a conversion, I'll show you why this is an issue. If we said, I want to say, thank you page, conversion, and I choose base event, and I say, yeah, this looks familiar to me, this is what I want to do. And you could do any of these, trial started, contents view, whatever. You could even enter a custom event, just say, thank you page, right? And you say, I'm going to do this on my Thrasher and Vine website visit for the data source. This would be a mistake because, again, this is not a thank you page visit. If this code fires, which it fires across every single page because our trigger that we just set up inside of Google Tag Manager fires on every single page, that is an issue. So how do you fix this? Well, a lot of people I've been seeing online just don't know how to fix this. It's very interesting. It's very simple, actually. What you need to do is just create another data source. And you go in here, create another data source. You say, thank you page visit, right? And you're gonna say web, you're gonna hit create. I don't know why it's failing to create this. Okay, so you're gonna hit create, you're gonna hit copy, and then all you're gonna do is just go into your Google Tag Manager and you're gonna create a new tag. And you're gonna say ChatGPT thank you page visit, okay? You're gonna custom HTML, place that in here, create the trigger, you're gonna create a new trigger, and you're going to say, thank you page visit. You're gonna set this up to only work on pages that have page URL that has a /thank you. I just do /thank, okay? Now, that is all you need to do. You'll click save, and let me just fix this, it's driving me nuts. Hit save, and then all of a sudden, this is good to go. So now this code will only fire once you have visited the page. And so this can be tracked inside of your campaigns now, inside of ChatGPT Ads, and you can see the number of people that actually are making it to a conversion page. and through, booking a meeting with you, right? So all you really need to do is have these two set up. And then you can create the conversion around this, say, thank you page conversion. And then you would just, come in here and say like meeting booked. Okay. And it's going to then fire off of your thank you page visit. You can't change the conversion window, that's fine, and just hit create. Now this is the conversion event you'll actually want to tie to your campaigns, which I'll show you how to do that here in a second once it applies the changes. So as you can see, it says meeting booked, thank you page conversion. All you need to do inside of your campaigns now is go back, and I have a test campaign created for this scenario. We'll click edit campaign. We'll change this to not say contact page visit. We'll say thank you page conversion. Now you can also put in other ones, right? You could put in, I just want to see if anybody visited. So you can have, if they clicked through and then thank you page conversion, if you really want to do that. I don't know if it's really necessary though, because you are going to be tracking clicks, you are going to be tracking click-through rate. So it's not necessary, but if you wanted to do that, you could, and all you would have to do is click save. Now that's essentially how you would set up your conversion tracking inside of ChatGPT Ads. And obviously, just so you're aware, you would have to submit your container. Just say ChatGPT conversion tracking added. Boom, done. Then there you go. So that's how you would send it. I've seen a lot of people struggle with that online. Hopefully you found that helpful. Okay, so next up, I just wanted to go right into the ad groups and the targeting and just some things for you to consider, okay? So similar to Meta Ads, you set up your ad budget at the campaign level, but every ad group can have its own ad set spend as well. And this is sort of dictated by your max cost per click bid. Now, if you were in the Google Ads world 10 years ago, or longer even, this was sort of how it was set up previously. If someone clicked on your ad, you wanted to just, you would pay for it, right? So your cost per click is set here. And this is what is used in the ad auction whenever the context is being given and the algorithm that OpenAI has developed is trying to decide on which ad to show. This max bid is taken into consideration. The higher this bid is, the more likely your ad is to show. That being said, that also means that if your ad shows and you have a really high bid, you are going to spend that amount of money. So if this was $5 and my ad showed because it won in the auction and then someone actually clicks, then I will be paying for that. Now, I've seen a lot of discourse online about people were allocating, or digital strategists were allocating hundreds of thousands of dollars to their campaigns, and then they were struggling to even spend, even with extremely high max cost per clicks, because people weren't clicking on the ads. It's just a very new behavior for people. And so there's a lot of learning that's going into these ads and the kind of algorithmic changes that are probably going to come to the OpenAI ads platform in the future. That being said, I just wanted to talk about bids and why that's important and how that impacts you. The higher it is, the more likely you are to show, but that also means that you will also pay more money. So it's good to consider that. Now, that being said, context hints, let's talk about this. This is how targeting is going to work in the future. And I'm going to be bold enough to say that this is going to be how it works, obviously, for these AI platforms. But even for Google Ads moving forward, this has already been hinted at by Google I/O, and I'm going to make a whole other video about this, that this is what the future of your ad experience is going to look like. Essentially, you give a lot of information about your brand, and then the algorithm decides on when your ad shows. And there's going to be more data, I'm sure, that is given to us on how to reverse engineer how we can improve our targeting for our ad groups. But right now, this is all we have to work with is context hints. And so for our agency specifically, we have a whole white label campaign, essentially how we help marketing agencies and B2B marketing teams basically provide GEO services to their clients. They usually don't have systems built internally to provide those, so we help build those systems for them and manage the clients as well. So what I basically gave ChatGPT was a very short one-liner about what my consultancy does. This is extremely broad. I did this on purpose. I think there's a little bit of a matrix that you can think about here whenever we're talking about this. So if you are doing something that's really niche, then you're gonna wanna have broad targeting, okay? AKA the equivalent of like a broad match keyword, right, in Google Ads, but you're gonna wanna have like 1 or 2 sentences max. This is my hunch as to how this will work and how this will work for you, is if trying to target something really niche, then you wanna keep the targeting pretty broad. That way your ads actually show, right? Because there is a lower chance that people are even searching for this kind of service. That basically would mean that a marketing agency owner that is not already on a premium plan is looking for white label SEO, AEO, GEO consultants to help them. If any of that is kind of brought up, my ad could show, right? Now, granted, if I was trying to target something as broad as, let's just say, just like Facebook ads, I definitely want to be extremely targeted with my targeting. So if we have a broad niche, like meta ads, right? I'm a meta ads agency, then if I was, right, then I would want this to be extremely narrow, very narrow targeting. Basically saying like 4 to 6 sentences about the exact circumstances that your agency works with for meta ads. So maybe you only work with B2B companies, maybe they are only SaaS, maybe they're only in the medical industry, but you want to be very specific about what you're actually offering with this ad group. Otherwise, you risk spending way too much money and way too much delivery of your ad, getting a bunch of spam clicks back to your site and wasting a bunch of your spend. Okay, so that is generally how I look at the OpenAI ads group for targeting specifically. I think this is really important. No one's talking about this, but I think that that is my general use case on how I set up my targeting for my ads. Okay, and as I promised to wrap up, I do want to be looking at the ads themselves and what they will look like, and my thoughts on how long they should actually be in terms of title, description, and your link, okay? So as you can see down here, there's a preview of our ad. As you can see, they give you, title-wise, up to 50 characters. I know that this seems like an upgrade, based off of Google Ads and how you can only have 30 characters and it's very limiting. I do like that they give you more to work with from a title perspective, but they have not optimized their ads to support this very well. And using my foresight, I do believe that these ads are going to be more served on mobile devices in the future. That being said, you don't want your ad to look like this, where the preview for the title, which is the most compelling part of your ad, is going to be cut off. So that being said, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you're still keeping your ad. I would recommend less than 40 characters. If the shorter, the better, right? And I think your title should be leading with your call to action. So for example, I included the call to action in the description here for this circumstance, but I think you could very easily throw your call to action in the title here. The way I kind of look at this is sort of like how LinkedIn ads has the right-hand side column ads, where essentially it's just a quick call to action with your brand image. It's very small. You don't really want to have a lot of text on here. As you can see, this is an example of an ad that you probably won't be able to read this very well. It's legible, but it's not something that will stick out very well. And so I think the most compelling things that you can include in these kinds of images are your logo or client logos you work with, brand colors, or if you can somehow visualize your call to action. I think that will get you pretty far. So looking at this is clearly an example I wouldn't want to run. Like I said, I'd probably throw in the call to action in the title, and then I'd probably say ads, SEO automations for B2B companies and agencies, and I'd probably keep it at that because again, I don't want my call to action to get cut off here. I think that doesn't really look that good, and putting a face to the name here could be really helpful as well. So I think shorter text will be better, even though they give you more text to work with than Google Ads does. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about here is a lot of people are going to start and they're not going to have UTM parameters attached to their ChatGPT ads. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you set these up because you will actually be able to pull those in to your CRM and into your Google Analytics 4 now that they're tracking more of those AI visits. And so this is going to be way more helpful for you to have that actual data inside, that source data inside of your analytics platforms. Now, obviously, they're already making strides to natively bring that in regardless of, if you have UTMs attached or not, but I highly recommend that you set that up. So as you can see, mine doesn't have it. You can easily go into Claude or ChatGPT and just ask, hey, can you create UTMs based off of this campaign? And it'll spam it out for you, and you can attach it to your link. So I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more videos like these. I talk all about AI, SEO, and ad optimizations on this channel, so be sure to follow along for future videos, and I'll see you in the next video.